Hello everybody, welcome back to Bootstrap Workbench. Today I wanted to do a quick opening and review of the GEDS 032AB US 110 volt 65 watt soldering iron kit. This is something that I received as a Christmas present. I believe it was purchased from Amazon, where it's listed as soldering iron with digital LED display, Holife soldering iron tool for electronics, 65 watt, 110 volt soldering kit, portable digital soldering iron station, adjustable temperature 194 to 896. What I typically use here in the shack on the bench is my Weller. I have an assortment of tips for it. I also have a Solomon SR71 that I use from time to time, and it's kind of bound up there. It's a ceramic element station. The Weller is just a normal resistive. So let's go ahead and open the box on this and see what's included. So there is a bag of tips, chisel, angled, fine point, blunt tip, screwdriver. So a fairly typical assortment there. There we go. That's everything in the box. So there's a little bit of solder, enough to get some practice with. Probably not fantastic solder, not like the Weller that I normally use here on the bench. Weller. The label's worn off, but it's the normal Weller you can buy at your electronics supply house. Manual, stand with sponge, and the actual soldering iron, and it has a display on the side, along with adjustable temperature. So, let's see here. Take the protector off. It has a blunt tip on it right now. So like most irons, you unscrew the retainer nut, slide that off, then that comes right off of the ceramic element. You put the new element on there, slide everything on together carefully, screw it down, and that's pretty much it. So, let me give this iron a try with an unsoldering task that I have to do. So let's see here. We're going to go ahead and select a screwdriver tip. I find the screwdriver tip to be more handy than a blunt tip for most jobs, although there are some jobs where you do need to have the blunt tip. Put that on there. Stick that together. Take the twist tie off of the cord. Let's get the stand out. The stand is very flimsy, so I would imagine that it won't do a fantastic job, but it's probably better than nothing. There we go. Let me sneak underneath here and plug it in. Oh, that cord is not flexible enough. Let's see here. Okay, so I switched the iron on by sliding this forward. Our set point is 300. The iron is heating now. Alright, and that's 300 Celsius. So, let's take our solder and see if this is warm enough yet to melt. Yes, it is. So I'll just flow that out. What I'm going to do is grab my soldering iron sponge and just clean that up quickly. There we go. And then I need to remove the wires that are soldered onto this dual pole single throw switch. So let's see here. Sometimes these switch terminals have a little bit of mass. It takes some time to get the heat onto them. In this case, I'm going to add a little bit of extra solder just to make sure it makes good contact with the workpiece. Come on, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to put some braid in there. I don't think there's enough solder on that connection to actually use my solder bolt. And really I just want to get enough of the solder off so that I can see where I need to trim at to release some of this connection. And of course I dropped some on my pants there, but that's why you wear pants in the shop and not shorts. Let's see here. I may have released it enough. There we go. So I'll just grab my needle nose and straighten that terminal out. Very good. Okay, let's go ahead and tackle the terminal on the other side. Put some heat to that first. There we go. That's softening quite well. And there's quite a bit of solder on that connection, so there we go. Pulled quite a bit of it off. Alright, I think I can see here where to cut that to free it. There we go. I'll just trim a little bit more there. The main thing we're trying to do is to not cut the actual terminal, since we want to reuse this switch. Wow, that's a lot of solder. There we go. Freeze some of that. There we go. Now I can see the top side and the bottom side. So let's see. Yes, we were able to free that, no problem. Just straighten that terminal now. Alright, let's see what we can do here. There we go. It's starting to soften a little bit. Ah, I see. Okay. Just cut that there. I think I still prefer the Weller, but I do like the fact that this is a temperature controlled station. So that is handy. That is a feature that my Solomon SR71 has. It's temperature controlled. But even though that one's temperature controlled, I still prefer using my Weller soldering station. Go. At least these terminals will be nicely tinned when I reuse this switch for something later. Alright, one last terminal to go, and I can already see where I need to trim here. I'm going to go ahead and begin that process. Alright, we'll come in with the iron to remove some of the solder. And when it comes to using solder wick, I like to use the MG Chemicals Super Wick, no clean, very handy stuff. If you've ever used the product that Radio Shack used to sell, then you'll know that having a good wick is important. I had used Radio Shack wick for a long time because it was always available right here in town, and at some point I had stopped by a Fry's and I bought a small roll of this Super Wick, and it works so well, especially if you give it a drop or two of liquid flux first, which I didn't do in this case. That makes it really soak up the solder, and it's very handy. In fact, the last time I was at Fry's, I purchased a much larger roll, and I'm using the last remnants of the small roll before I move on to using the larger roll. There we go. And perfect. So I'll go ahead and switch that iron off and straighten the last remaining terminal. Alright, so as you can see, easily removed the wires from this switch, and now I can reuse the switch for something at some point. I have a power supply that I'm working on, and I was thinking about using it for that, but it uses one of those square backlit rocker switches, and I think I'm just going to order several of those from Amazon, and that way I can have the right part instead of rigging something in that is not correct. So that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below, and I hope that you have a great day.